Hello and welcome to episode 134 of my Wurm Unlimited tutorial series. This episode will be on the helpful Book of Wisdom. The Book of Wisdom contains useful information pertaining to Wurm Online and Wurm Unlimited. It is available through the notifications window. So you can see over here on the far right there's this little window here. This is the notifications window, and it's a window that's been there for many months, and I know I've not touched it or covered it, but I thought we'd take a little look at it in this episode. Now for some of you, okay, you may not see this window because you may have turned it off either purposely or not turned it off but hidden it either purposely or by accident. So talking about the Book of Wisdom, and because it is so useful, let me first show you how you can hide it and how you can bring it back. So if you right click on the Book of Wisdom, there is an option to lock the window. So that means if you lock it, you won't be able to move it from this position on the far right where I've got it here. It will keep it put in that location. So once locked, no dragging it around. But I don't want to move it around. I want to show you this. So the second option is hide notification. Watch what happens when I click this. It's gone. How do we get it back? So for some of you, you may not have seen the notification window. How you get it is you press the O key for Oscar. That brings up the options panel. Then left click HUD settings, and then left click notification, and see it come back. So that's how you can hide and restore the notification window. Okay, let's now then take a look at the Book of Wisdom. So if you left click, it brings up this panel of a whole load of topics. This is an invaluable book, in fact, for new players and for even players who perhaps have been playing for a while if they want to look up a subject. So very useful, very handy. I mean, there is loads of wonderful things put in place with Wurm because it's a very complex game. So loads of different avenues of information. The wonderful Wurmpedia, the Book of Wisdom, they all have the same goal, and that is to teach you different subjects of how to play Wurm. So let's start with the tutorial. If we left click that, you will see it brings up all of these options underneath it. So let's first of all click on the bartender. Let's pretend you don't know what the bartender is for. So if we left click, you will see it says the bartender provides food and water to any player with under 24 hours of playtime. Right click him and ask for a refreshment. So that's telling you that if you've been playing for longer than 24 hours, when you right click on him, and you won't be able to get refreshment anymore. It's only for new players that are within the first 24 hours of game playtime. Okay, so very useful. Let's click the next one, basic fighting. Again, that tells you to attack a creature or other players on PvP servers. Right click them and click attack. Now of course, you being a new player, you're hardly going to want to do this unless it's a chicken. Certainly not on another player, because you'll be greeted, no doubt, by a big hammer coming down on you and killing you in short order. But so the range of your fighting skills as a new player will be things like chickens. I wouldn't go for anything else. Or Mr. Rooster perhaps, but then he might even kick your behind. Okay, moving on then, so let's have a look. CA help is basically for if you're playing Wurm Online, it'll tell you about the chat, as you can see there. Climbing, this is a good one. Climbing is a skill I love because when I used to play Wurm Online, or even in Wurm Unlimited, if I go out roaming and I don't always go by wagon or cart. Sometimes if it's a really rough terrain area, or I'm cutting a path through it or making a path through a rough area, then I prefer to start out on foot and just drop piles of dirt on the ground. And so climbing is a skill that I will use quite frequently. It's a wonderful skill, and remember to complement climbing, have stamina items in your pocket that you can eat or drink to regain stamina, and then you won't get stuck halfway up a mountain and run out of stamina, so you won't be able to progress up, because all you can do is use up your last bit of stamina and fall down the mountain and probably die. So bear that in mind. But here you can see, to travel up steep slopes you may have to activate climb mode, which it's pointing out just there is this icon here, and when you left click you toggle into you will now attempt to climb steep areas. Well, there aren't any steep areas, so I'll turn that off. But anyway, you see it tells you quite clearly, and even shows you a little matchstick man that's climbing up a mountain. When you climb you will use a lot of stamina. Once your stamina is depleted you will die in short order. Alright, it says you will fall and may hurt yourself. You will fall and die. Let's put it that way to you, because if you're out in the wilds you are heading for disaster. Do not forget to deactivate climb mode when you have finished climbing, or else you will move very slowly and you will have trouble to execute other tasks. The amount of times in the past where I've clicked to start climbing, forgotten that I've done that, and then this is in my early days of playing. Alright, well maybe not so early, but I'll be going along thinking, why on earth am I walking so slowly? And no doubt a lot of you out there have done this as well. And being a new player, you just can't remember all these buttons and windows and menus, and so you're left playing like this for half a week before you eventually realise you've got to turn off the climbing. And then you'll go nice and, well, relatively quicker. I've got full plate armour on, that's why I'm a slow coach. Anyway, so there's climbing. So as you can see, it is so lovely, this book of wisdom. Anyway, let's close that and continue on. Well, that's self-explanatory. Climbing disable, you just click back on the icon and it turns it off. Compass. Oh, there's a good one. Use the compass to get your bearings. It's easy to get lost in the woods. Compass quality influences the time it takes for it to settle and show you your bearings. Yeah, I must make a decent compass in the future, because I think mine is, if I move, okay, you remember that when you move your compass will take time to resettle. Well, look how long it takes for mine to settle. I don't think I've done an episode on the compass. Perhaps I'll do an episode on making a compass. I'll have to check to see if I've done that already. If I haven't, then we can see if I can make an improvement on my current compass, because it is very useful, and it's really, when you bring up the map, let's try this one. When you bring up the map, and you won't see all of this of course because it won't have all of the landmarks that we've got on our server, but when you're walking out in the wilds, really your compass is the only thing you've got to go on. But then, you know, you've got to hope you even know where you are on the map to start with. But at least the compass will give you a little comfort in knowing that you'll know whatever direction you're going in, that you're completely lost. At least you know whether it's north, west, east or south. So you might very well be completely lost, like I have been so many times in the past. At least you can have direction to your lostness, if that does make sense, which I doubt very much. But there we go, there's the compass. I was going off on one when I with the compass. Let's close that. So yeah, I'll have to check if I've done an episode on that. Maybe we can have a bit of fun with me getting lost. Crafting window. So this covers all you need to know with that. Open the crafting window by clicking the crafting icon on the quick bar, or press the default hotkey, the B key. Now with me, I've remapped a lot of my keys, so perhaps they won't work the same. But remember, this book of wisdom is aimed at new players, and so if you forget how to do something, this is your best friend. So there we go, it tells you how to open up the crafting window. Cool. Let's have a look at creatures. All creatures can kill you. Oh well, there's no surprise there, especially if you go tickle with them as a new player. Creatures with red outline are hostile and aggressive and will attack you if you move within range. No doubt about that. Creatures with a blue outline are non-hostile. Creatures like horses, cows and others can be bred. Yep, they certainly can. So as a new player, be very wary of even the blue outline the blue creatures, because if you attack them, they are probably going to kill you. So enough said on that, which leads us nicely to death. If you die, you will lose all items except certain no drop items like your starter tools. Yeah, we don't want to go there. I don't want to get all morbid on you. I've died enough times. So you get the idea about the tutorial side. Next, let's have a look at survival. Be aware. So, a dangerous enemy is lurking nearby. Always keep a lookout so that you do not get too close to enemies you might not yet be able to defeat. Well, if you're playing Wurm Online, that's talking about the first month of playing. If you're playing Wurm Unlimited, that's talking about the first day of playing. They will attack you if you get too close, even though they do not yet see you as a big threat. Remember that the consequences of dying are quite severe. This is Wurm Online. It will teach you respect, and it will slap you down any chance you get. It gets. So if you go walking out in the wilderness, prepare to be slapped, and you have to restart from the starter area if you have not yet created a deed or joined a village. And as a new player, in all probability, you would not have done that yet. Okay, finding food. There's a good one. There are many items and creatures to eat in Wurm. The problem is finding, hunting and cooking them. Try selecting and right-clicking nearby tiles and selecting nature, then forage to find some basic food. When you have found food, you can choose to eat it raw or try to cook it. But for cooking you need the right tools and a fire. Animals also need to be butchered, with an example, your butchering knife before offering you their bounty. Wait a minute, did I read that right? Animals also need to be butchered with, for example, your butchering knife before you offering you their bounty. Right, okay. So you get the idea. There are lots of subjects in here. So, for example then, if I click in here and type butcher, notice what happens. It removes the irrelevant areas and leaves you with areas relevant to your search, the key word you've typed. So if we open up crafting, there's butchering, lo and behold. Now if we click that, you can butcher the corpses of animals and humans to gain a variety of items such as furs, meat and other animal parts. What exactly you gain when butchering depends on the type of animal. You can butcher with a variety of sharp tools such as a carving knife or a shovel, as funny as that may sound. But for the very best results you will need a butchering knife. I don't think I've ever used a shovel I think I did once. It was a desperate time. I was out in the wilds, completely lost. I don't know what I'd done with my starting carving knife, or even if I had one, but I did have a shovel and decided to try butchering a cow, I think it was. I don't know, so there we go. I have used a shovel in the past. A large amount of animal parts can be used to make healing covers. Oh yes, they certainly can. So as you can see, the search box is very, very useful because there are a lot of subjects in here and a lot of items to look through. So that's survival, crafting. Let's have a look at environment. Farming. You can sow seeds on dirt tiles to grow crops. These will take several real-life days to grow and can provide you with many useful things. For example, cotton for healing. It's excellent actually that it examples cotton, because as a new player, your very first goal should be to get yourself a fishing rod. And to get a fishing rod, you will need cotton. So there we go, that's a good example. Went for rope making or a variety of food items. During the crop's growth, you should farm the fields with a rake to remove any weeds. Crops can be harvested at any time, but harvesting too early or too late will give no yield. So yeah, there we go. If you're new to Wurm, you click on farming, it's going to start to give you the basics behind the idea of farming and what you can do, because it's a very deep game, is our Wurm. Okay, next, economy. Let's click bank. At the centre of each settlement you can find a token. Here you can open a bank account which you can use to safely store 5 items and your money. Pay note to that, 5 items, that is the limit. So the token is this right here. This is at the centre of my deed. That is where you will find a token on a deed, in its centre. And there we go. So if I right click, there's bank, and if I go to manage, you can see I've got a pelt. I stuck in there many moons ago, when 26 quality was actually very good for me. But I have actually progressed. I now have a 64 quality. So I guess that's just a spare in case I ever get this one destroyed and end up not having a pelt. I've got one in my token, my bank. Remember, you can store 5 items in there. They do not rot. So that is the reason, the main reason you would store your high quality pelts, at least, because they do not rot over time. So, but it's only a limit of 5. There you go, there's a little tidbit for you. So that's under economy. Settle, let's have a look at that. Deeding. Now here is a huge subject, but let's look at how it breaks it down in one little window. How to claim land. Deeding. Your very own slice of paradise. Yes, and as soon as you go deeding, that will upset your neighbours. They'll come on the rampage and sort you and your deed out. Deeding is the crucial process of you claiming a piece of land with the size of your choice. That didn't feel right the way that come out, but never mind. To start this process, you need to activate your deed stake, which you received as a starting item. Stand in the centre of the area you want to claim and right click. Well, you'll know in my deeding episodes I covered all of that, but it's very good for you new players. It tells you exactly what you need to know. And there we go, that's deeding under settle. Next, let's look at resources. In fact, what I'm going to do, let's use this search again. So let's say you wake up one morning, you start playing Wurm, and you say to yourself, today I want to discover everything there is to do with acorns. I have a strong impulse and desire to know about acorns and the usefulness of them. So let's type in here acorn. Notice it's only left the resources topics. So let's click, and there we go, acorns. Acorns are naturally occurring and can be found by using botanize action on grass tiles. You have a higher chance of finding them near tiles with oak trees. Oh, so isn't that lucky I'm standing next to an oak tree? I do like the oak trees. Can be used for creating tannin for black dye, healing covers, or taming and feeding animals that graze. For further information about healing or taming, use the Book of Wisdom. So, okay, let's do that. So if I type in now healing, you will see that there is lots of references. What about taming then? That's narrowed it down a bit. So under environment, we've got taming. A variety of animals can be tamed to make them your pet. Stronger animals tend to be much more difficult to tame, so it is advisable to start with something like a dog or a cat. A cat? Wow, I've never tamed. Oh yeah, it's talking about the small little cats. For carnivorous animals you need meat, while for herbivore animals you will need greens or seeds. To start the process of taming, you activate a suitable food for the creature from your inventory and then right click the animal and choose the tame option. Pets can be led around with a rope and can help you in combat. Well, if you've tamed a chicken, don't go trying to fight a crocodile, because you'll be eaten before that chicken is. The chicken can peck it all it likes, but it ain't going to even probably get the croc's attention. That croc will eat you in short order, so just be warned about that. Okay, so there we are. So as you can see, very, very useful is the Book of Wisdom. It is indeed a book that is full of wisdom. Okay, let's look at terraforming. What's we got in there? Oh, there's some good stuff in here, that's for sure. Let's look at forestry. Forestry is the cutting and planting of sprouts from trees or bushes. To be able to do this, you first need a sickle, which is a crafting tool. Wow, in Wurm Online when I played it and I wanted to go collecting sprouts, that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to just go around the land picking sprouts and planting trees, but I couldn't because I didn't have a sickle. And back in the day, in Wurm Online, that was a long, long way off. Before I would have that sickle, I didn't realise about that you could just go to rock tiles and forage for scraps of iron that way. I didn't know that then. I thought the only way was to do a huge mine and spend months mining it out until you found an iron node. And so, as you can imagine, it was a long, long time before I was picking sprouts when I started playing Wurm Online. I was, wow, a long way into the game before I got myself a sickle. But that is neither here nor there. Okay, and last of all, housing. Let's have a quick look. Floor plan. A floor plan is the frame of an incomplete piece of a building that is a visual representation of the floor of a planned structure. So as you can see, this Book of Wisdom is, for a new player, is just vital. You need it, complete and utterly. So even though it hides itself away in the corner of your screen like this, seeming like it's totally unimportant, it is an invaluable source of information. So there we go. Okay, I think I've waffled enough about the Book of Wisdom. For those of you new to Wurm, you shall no doubt really depend on and enjoy that Book of Wisdom. Wherever you are in the world, God bless you and keep every last one of you safe. Thank you for watching and have a fantastic day. Goodbye.